Nobody noticed the snake's skin at first. It was folded carefully beneath the wooden counter of the restaurant, hidden like an old rag no one bothered to check. But the afternoon a small boy bent down to pick up a fallen spoon and saw scales instead of human feet. That was the moment the land of Umudike began to carry a curse it never asked for. Because the woman everyone trusted, the woman whose food healed sickness, restored strength, and brought luck to struggling men, was never human. She was the snake woman, and hunger was the invitation that welcomed her inside the village. Umudike was not a poor village. It sat peacefully between two forests and a wide river that never truly dried. The soil was rich, the people hard-working, and famine was something elders spoke about only when telling stories of the old days. Children grew up believing hunger was a spirit that no longer visited their land. But one dry season, when the sun burned longer than usual and traders began to complain of bad markets, something unusual happened. Overnight, without sound or struggle, a restaurant appeared at the center of the village. It was not built with the rough hands of villagers. It stood elegant and complete, painted red and gold, with smooth wooden tables and a shining signboard that read Madam Sika's Royal Kitchen. No one saw builders. No one heard hammer or saw. Yet, by morning, smoke rose gently from its kitchen, carrying aromas that made mouths water before people even understood what they were smelling. By the time the sun climbed high, villagers gathered, curious and hungry. That was when Madam Sika stepped out.
She was tall and slim, her skin smooth like polished clay, her eyes calm but deep, the kind of eyes that seemed to see beyond the present moment. Her voice was soft and respectful, but there was authority in every word she spoke. She welcomed everyone warmly, calling elders my fathers and women my sisters. She wore long wrappers that brushed the ground and covered her body completely. Nobody ever saw her feet, but nobody questioned it either. In Umudike, respect often killed curiosity. From the first taste of her food, the village changed. Pepper soup warmed bones and erased long-standing pain. Rice restored strength to tired bodies. Soup tasted richer than anything the land itself had ever produced. People began to eat there daily. Some even abandoned their farms, preferring to spend hours seated at her tables, waiting for another plate. Madam Sika smiled at everyone, never raised her voice, never argued, never ate in public. She only served and watched. Soon, whispers began. People spoke of dreams that felt too real. Men dreamed of long, shining snakes coiled around golden thrones. Women heard soft hissing sounds in their sleep. Children woke up crying, seeing something cold had brushed their legs at night. When a few elders raised concern, Madam Sika only smiled and said dreams were messages, and not all messages were bad. Her food was sweet, and hunger has a way of silencing wisdom. So the village continued eating. Among those who worked at the restaurant was a small orphan boy named Chiki. He washed plates, swept floors, and survived on leftovers Madam Sika allowed him to take. He was observant, quiet, and grateful. One evening, as he bent down to pick up a spoon that had rolled beneath the counter, he saw something his eyes struggled to understand. Where human legs should have been, he saw a long green tail, thick and shining, slowly sliding backward into the darkness. Chike froze. His heart beat so loud he thought it would expose him. When the tail disappeared, he ran without looking back, his legs carrying him to the shrine of Dibia Okori, the village spiritualist. The old Dibia listened without interruption, his eyes narrowing as the boy spoke. When Chike finished, the old man sighed deeply, like someone whose fear had finally been confirmed.
He said the spirits of the river had long been watching Umudike. When humans grow careless and greedy, ancient beings cross into their world wearing friendly faces. Madam Sika, he said, was from the snake kingdom beneath the river. Her food was not ordinary. Each meal carried a spiritual debt, and payment always came later. Soon, the price began to reveal itself. A trader who ate there daily lost all his wealth overnight. A woman who insulted Madam Sika lost her voice mysteriously. Another man who tried to expose her disappeared without a trace. Fear spread through Umudike, but addiction is stronger than fear. People kept eating, even as they prayed silently over their plates. One night, the Dibia gathered the elders and led them to the restaurant after midnight. What they witnessed shattered their courage. Madam Sika stood alone in the kitchen. Her human skin lay on the table like discarded cloth. Before them stood a massive snake, upright, stirring soup with its tail. Inside the pot, shadows of human figures twisted and cried without sound. The elders fled, knowing they had welcomed something older and stronger than themselves. The next morning, Madam Sika addressed the village. Her voice was no longer gentle. She reminded them that hunger brought her there and greed kept her welcome. If they chased her away, she promised them real hunger. That night, crops began to wither and the river grew quiet. The Dibia revealed the only solution. The snake woman had to be exposed in the open, under the full strength of the sun. But it required courage and possibly death. Chike stepped forward. At noon, he entered the restaurant and pulled away Madam Sika's wrapper. The village screamed as her human form collapsed, revealing the great snake beneath. With a thunderous hiss, she vanished into the earth and the restaurant crumbled like dust. The land slowly healed, but Umudike was never the same again. From that day, elders taught children that not all gifts are blessings, not all smiles are human, and hunger is the quickest door through which darkness enters a peaceful home. Until today, when night grows quiet near the river, people say a soft hissing sound still echoes, reminding Umudike of the snake woman who once sold food and collected souls instead.